Welcome back, folks. Acidic Roots here, part 5 of Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. So this deals with the volcano area. Now, in part 4 we got there, but this time, we're gonna see what else the volcano has to offer, because it's not quite done. So, but we got the mask, which enables you to see the enemies, which you're gonna need, because there's a lot of them coming. Nice little burp for you. There's a lot of them coming up, so that's one thing to keep in mind. See, if you look at all this, there's enemies everywhere. But so this is approximately where I left off. I'm not quite as sure, but I mean, all it takes is as long as you have the mask, it really isn't that much of a deal to kind of traverse through this area. So just head towards the top and then you'll get there. But it's not so much like I'm just leaving you to navigate. I just think that there was like a path that I went off to the right for, but if you go north instead, you'll get to this area. I think I tried showing that, but you get the idea. So, yeah, there's a boss coming up, and it's pretty wicked. It's the first loss that I face in this battle. It's kind of threw me for a loop, but luckily this game is pretty forgiving. I mean, normally, if you get a game over in an RPG, you don't just lose where you're at. You have to go all the way back to your previous save point. And some RPGs will let you keep the experience, but other ones it's kind of like, well, Well, I think most Final Fantasy games let you keep the experience, but the game over idea, especially on the disc-based system, is not something you want to do too much. But yeah, so this one's forgiving. You'll see what happens. It'll just basically let you restart the battle until you give up, and then you'll go back to your save point that you last had. But yeah, but I mean, any intermediate level RPG player can basically figure this out pretty quickly. I mean, it's not. I mean, the simplicity of it, I think half the problem is just because I like having my party member on automatic. But it really, the later bosses can make quick work of the computer. So the computer for the enemies is sharper than the computer for your party members. That's the thing. I think that may be the reason why so many folks don't do it that much, but it just helps. It makes it feel more interactive. That's kind of what I thought with it, but... So, this is the penultimate enemy to get the boss. We'll see what's going to happen here. Goals multiplied. I kind of like those little spirit enemies in Final Fantasy VI. I mean, one of them actually joins your party in the Ghost Forest. I forget what it's specifically called. It's a pretty cool place. Pretty slick. Yeah, I mean, there was a big theme of Doom in Final Fantasy VI, which didn't really happen as much in Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I haven't actually played through that game, but I have at least, that was weird, I think that was a bark, something like that noise. I have at least seen an LP of that game go pretty far, probably to like somewhere in the middle of the second disc. When they really start traveling, I mean, that's the thing about most of those games, they do go across the world. Final Fantasy usually creates a world rather than just like a country or a continent, something like that. But, and this, Mystic Quest is basically you're just in one continent, that's the thing, and it doesn't really have you going across the ocean. At least thus far, I haven't seen that. This Medusa, she's a pain in the rear. I mean, that's the thing, is it's kinda... I mean, these status ailments, they can fuck you up pretty quickly, so it's just kinda... Ruben gets paralyzed and then petrified and all that, and Zone just doesn't have enough HP to take the real strong hits, so it's like... Holy thing, you're gonna see what happens here. actually just called the werewolf. You'd think that those would be called the Cerberus. That'd be pretty wicked. That's actually supposed to be a frightening being. When you think of a Cerberus, I mean, it's like you think of a one-headed dog is bad enough as an asshole, but a three-headed dog is like, no. Yeah, it'd be. The answer is no, I'm not going to give up, so we're going to try this again. Should be simple enough to do. The volcano boss that you're going to see here pretty soon after this one, you know, that one should be simple enough too, so. But it is, I mean, obviously, you know, something that you need going through this game is this further spells, but in order to get them, you do have to traverse the dungeons. So sometimes you will have to go off to the wayside and fight some of these battles that maybe just don't feel, you know, necessary, but, you know, it's at the cost of having spells. I mean, cure and heal are good, but you're going to need, like, life and a couple other ones. Twice, wasn't expecting that. Cat insists on being a part of this recording. Just don't want her to trying to avoid having her one touch the keyboard, and then, you know, this recording is ruined, so I have to. It doesn't matter how many times I put her down, she's gonna jump right back up, so that's the thing. But, yeah, you do want to get rid of those werewolves. Werewolves. That's not proper English. You just don't have to use that too much. You know, how many people are going to say werewolves? They'll say wolves, but not werewolves. Werewolves don't even appear that much anymore. Besides, like, the Twilight series, there's not too many series that feature those things. But I remember the Rampage video game also, that had a werewolf in it. I forget what his name was. It was like, it was supposed to be, it was like, yeah, I don't remember. I remember the Rampage movie with Dwayne Johnson just came out this year, but it was actually, I remember the lizard was Lizzie, and the King Kong one was George, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, it was Ralph. That's what it was, Ralph. Oh yeah. Well, damn thing. Cross-referencing. I know Rampage has almost nothing to do with Final Fantasy, but it's kind of like the main scenario. So, I mean, the bombs are definitely effective when there's one enemy. That's the thing. It kind of lessens the damage when there's 2 or 3 of them, but it can really beat the shit out of some of these enemies when you need it to. So I'm having, you know, Zone use the Mega Grenade, and then Ruben, his attack just works pretty good. He's still a higher level than me, but we're gonna level up like 3 or 4 levels in this upcoming dungeon. You know, you can see the stairway going down, so we're going into the volcano. I need another burp or something. Just trying to think of what would actually work. So yeah, we're only 10 minutes into this. I mean, this was just like an appetizer, you know. What I probably should have done is I think I should have went back to town and gotten some supplies. It gives you the option of doing that. It's not mandatory that you have to go to the second area. They could have been a dick and did that, but they didn't. I was glad for that, but once again, if you leave the dungeon, you are going to have to fight these enemies again, which I do. So, that confused me. There's sequences to this dungeon. That's the thing about it. So, the new enemies, Hot Wings. I don't know if they were in the previous area, but cool little name. The ninjas show up. So. The ninjas are actually pretty weak. I mean, Ruben can one-shot them, as you see, but the hot wings, I kind of tend to, just try to weaken one, and then I don't remember if Ruben can one-shot them. That's the thing. So I guess maybe, but I know the hero can't. Zone. So yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. This first little bit, I didn't know what I was doing heading into this dungeon. So I just kind of thought I could wing it, get through it, but there's a sequence to it, and you do have to do a little bit of exploring. That's kind of the scenario. What was I trying to say? Yeah, there's a spell here, the life spell, which we're going to get. So you need it. It's definitely so the other party member doesn't always have to heal the hero character. You know, you can refer to the hero character to take care of the party member if you need it. That's a good way to get fucked over, is to do that. So lose your party member. There, you see that switch down there by that? That was what I forgot to do, and I didn't know how to get to that. I figured had like that in the back of my mind that I needed to do that, but I just couldn't find a way to get to it. So, and that's the way, down there is the way to get to the life spell, is somewhere around here. I think I was just like, nope, too many enemies, this wasn't worth it. I really was short on supplies when I came here, because I used a lot of them for the first half of the volcano, and I needed to heal, and I didn't go back to town and get potions and all that. So, I mean, that's definitely something. I mean, the game implied that you should probably heal yourself, you know, but I just didn't seem to think that. So, but it's at the cost. I mean, it's just more entertainment, I suppose. If we could beat this in 35 minutes rather than, you know, a minute or an hour and 5 minutes, it's like, which one would be more entertaining? So, it's not a speed run. You know, that's the thing about it. I don't consider Final Fantasy to be a speed run game. There's no point in, you know, trying to make that happen. I'm really kind of antsy because the cat has its foot, has her foot right by the keyboard, and just hitting that fucking space bar is going to stop the recording. So, god damn it, I don't want that to happen. I know I could just do another recording, but it required more sessions and eat up more space in my computer, so. I'm going to do this in 2 sessions, so the first one's going to be about 20-25 minutes, and the other one will be about, you know, the rest of what I have to do. And then the rest of the videos is going to consist of a 3rd session, which is yet to be done. But I've seen what I need to do, so. But, you know, I know, like, maybe some of you fellows are tired of Ruben just about. And he has been the party member that's been with us the longest. The other ones were just, oh, hey, you know, Ice Pyramid and, Bone Dungeon, and they were on their way. That was a mini burp. So I do wind up snipping a few of these battles, but it's just not going to be every single one. Because it really only shapes off. The battles usually only take about 30-45 seconds to do, so it's just like, well, it's only one enemy, it's only like 20 seconds, so it's really not saving too much time to do that. Just trying to figure out which way would be the best way to go. There is some extra stuff in here. Once again, I mean, for fellows who want to get all those treasure chests, it's like, you know, there's good assortment of items, and there is armor in this dungeon too, so. But the axe will tear up these turtles. Both Ruben and Zone can defeat these characters pretty quickly. So, stick to the axe and that'll take care of them one shot. Seems like my information wouldn't quite be quick enough for folks who are watching the game and reading the game messages, but you know, it's an extra thing. Some people are like that. You know, when I if I watch a let's play of something that I haven't actually played the video game, I actually pay attention more to the video game than I do the person talking. You know, because obviously, like in an RPG, if someone's talking when you're trying to read the dialogue, it's kind of off-putting, but, you know, I kind of do that kind of back and forth. I at least talk during dialogue in RPGs, but, you know, you just have to drown me out and listen to, you know, think of what they're saying. But, I mean, if you watch this game 20, 30 times, it's like, that's where you get the juice behind fucking with this, so. But even I do it. I mean, But yeah, I've really been having to use like the inventory, which I didn't have to do so much in previous dungeons. Ruben gets poisoned, and if the computer is controlling Ruben, he will take every turn to heal himself every time a status ailment happens, so he can use up your heals pretty quickly. That's, you know, another reason why you may not want to do that. But yeah, I mostly don't heal inside of the battle. I kind of wait until afterward, just because you know, this is simpler. You don't have to take a turn, and obviously that gives them another turn to attack you. It just puts you back at faulty health to begin with, so it's just better to go in with full health and then use your stuff to do that. I mean, sometimes it's actually necessary, but you know, this depends. You know, don't think it's some sort of emotional response. This is, you know, you just have to realize that the money that you spend for these items is kind of the thing. So. Those kind of look like goblins. I think Frenchie might like those characters. They're blue. That's actually pretty slick. Kind of remind me of gargoyles in a sense. It's not a word you hear too much anymore. But, you know, yeah. We're just gonna axe these turtles up. Those definitely look like snapping turtles. They look like they have a ferocious fight. I think if it had been a regular Final Fantasy, they might have had a pretty strong attack, but you know, I do like the fact that you know, this game implies strengths and weaknesses. So, in addition to status ailments, so it gives you a lot to work with. Adamant turtle. Kind of reminds me of adamantium. That's something that needs to be brought up more. I feel like, you know, Marvel movies, you know, folks talking about like Thanos, you know, there's a bunch of memes around him and stuff. They need to mention adamantium again, because that's supposed to be like indestructible. Wolverine, you know, he can't get hurt. He's one of the stronger Marvel characters. But So, yeah, Ruben got knocked out, so I had to run because I didn't have the life spell. The whole thing, that's what I meant. All it would take would be 2 against 1 on that situation, and they get 2 turns, and obviously I'd have to heal and cure so many times. Like, this wasn't worth it. You can run away from just about any battle. It's not a boss battle, so. Let's get rid of that turtle. These things are a little bit trickier just because you can't one-shot them, but I don't really know their weaknesses either. This is a regular standard battle. They kind of look like Komodo dragons. I like that. Some ugly animals out there. The whole day when you think about it, there's some stupid looking animals. They're just ignorant things. You think about that. If you've had one too many beers, and you think about the stupidity of some of the animals out there, it's just like, what are you talking about? Like turkeys. Turkeys are the stupidest fucking animals. That's the whole damn thing. Obviously, PETA can. You could talk about like defending animals, but it doesn't mean you can't make fun of them. Turkeys are stupid animals. That's the whole thing about that. Obviously, comedians could say that better than I can. I bet you Kevin Hart could talk about some stupid animals. I think one time he talked about like an ostrich or something that was like chasing him, and he was like, "Oh no, that thing fucking is catching up with us or something." I used to watch those on Netflix, but yeah, something like that. It was one of those guys that did that. So I'm gonna get these treasure chests. You really only have to fight one of them if you want to, but I didn't realize that mathematic there. Alright, so I'm gonna break into the second bit of this recording later, so after this battle I'll just kinda go on and we'll conclude this. And there'll be a third recording segment that you'll see later in the video. This is a similar guy to the Jinn enemy, but he's a pushover now. So it's kind of like the Medusa enemies that you'll see. Alright folks, so we'll at least finish up the original segment I did here, but the volcano, so this is, yeah. We do have a little bit more to travel, so you'll at least get to see, supposing you hit the switch the right way that you have to go. But yeah, it is. I think that's the whole essence of this place. Is it's supposed to be confusing. I actually looked for a little bit of help with this, and the whole damn thing is the reason why is because I didn't want to have to fight every single enemy in the dungeon. Just the way the game sets up the traps, it's so you wind up hitting like 95% of them. So I just said, no. As much as I wanted to do a blind run, it really, that's what's sucking up most of the time of this, LP. So, but at least for the next 13 minutes, it'll be blind. So, but yeah, so or something else I was gonna say about that. Yeah, you can imagine like the annoyance of this place without the mask. If you really didn't look around in the outside of the volcano part, you'd probably have to deal with a lot more just trials. That's just a plain nightmare. So, but it's not, and yeah, it's not so much a nightmare as much as it is just a trial. That's the thing. You do have to understand that it just means you're gonna have to really get enveloped. So, the Square, you know, I read somewhere, I think it was on like MSN, their website, they said that Final Fantasy is bringing a few games back to the Nintendo Switch after 20 some odd years. It's like, geez, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right, Final Fantasy being on the Xbox, which is kind of the problem. I mean, I don't know, it is weird, because obviously the Xbox got the worst of the Final Fantasy games. It's not like 14 and 15 were that terrible, but I mean, it's not Final Fantasy for people who remember it from the 80s and 90s. It's just kind of the thing. I mean, it really got with the times, it modernized, but I mean, I think that's the reason why Final Fantasy only comes out like once every 4 or 5 years now. It's just because of the reception, and I know why. I mean, it's just because we're trying to catch like a different generational, because it just doesn't feel like the kids of today are going back to like the first pretty much 10 Final Fantasies. I mean, even the PS2 Final Fantasies are ancient at this point. This is what you gotta remember, any kid who's underneath like the age of 18 probably doesn't remember Tidus from Final Fantasy X, unless they played like the Kingdom Hearts series, but I mean, really, this is not to be. I mean, Cloud Strife is another one, and Leon or Squall, these are not characters that are just everyday conversation. But, I mean, that's just the thing. It isn't so elusive, and the Squaresoft has always been like that, though. It's kind of like, this is like the next door neighbor to what casual video gaming is. You'll always maybe find like 1 or 2 people out of 7 or 8 that like RPGs in addition to whatever else they like. But this, it wasn't like that 20 years ago. It was more like 3 or 4 people who fucked with RPGs. I mean, any gamer that's not casual will tell you that, but obviously I can't speak too much for 1991 and stuff, but this is a pretty damn fun game. That's the thing about it. But I forgot what I was checking there, but more Hot Wings enemies. So that's the thing, they do show up in 3s most of the time, but the whole thing about this is you're not going to be able to one-shot them, but I tried using Blizzard. You might have seen me use that like once in this playthrough. I don't know if I did it off camera or if I actually did it in this, but Blizzard really does not wipe them out as much. You'd think Ice would have a strength against fire, but it doesn't really seem to. I guess the theme of a volcano is a little bit more powerful than a blizzard. I mean, it's kind of off and on, but it's just the thing. Yeah, so here I'm using Blizzard. It doesn't one-shot them. Just look right there, it's kind of. So, some enemies, as I've realized, just do not have a particular weakness when fighting them. A-la certain other games, like Pokemon Go type stuff, but this is the main thing. So yeah, there are some trials up ahead. It's one thing to know. But, and here's the thing, you look at this inventory, I didn't know what seeds did. I had to look that up because I was kind of curious about it, but apparently it refills. That's the reason. I mean, I saw seeds being sold at like the marketplace in like Fireburg, but I didn't understand what they did, so that's kind of the weird thing. Up to this point, I just haven't used seeds, and it's just made things a lot tougher, because you basically have to one-shot these dungeons. You have to just go in with the 30 potions that you have, and it just makes things a lot tougher. But this is something that I made harder on myself just because I didn't do the research to know. But of course I don't have the instruction manual for this game, so I mean, I wanted it to be somewhat blind, but no one explained in part 1, oh, seeds, seeds refill, your magic meter, so what she said. had to throw one of those in, you know, but, you know. I don't know if that would have, you know, maybe not your magic meter, but seeds refill the magic meter. You know, something like that. It could be done. You know, you could make that joke there. And there's some people that are pros with saying that phrase. There's a little handful of second-rate jokes for you. I'm just stumbling over my words, but you know. Well, let's not forget about Zone. You know, he hasn't really had too much dialogue lately. This has just been a whole run through of a dungeon. It just went from one thing to the other. And I know in part 4 I was just in the mine. That's about the big thing I have a complaint about. I haven't talked about too much, but the whole problem with it is just the fact that there's just not enough dialogue endorsement. Like, you know, you don't talk to enough characters. I mean, most of the time, it just is a couple, you know, like a paragraph of dialogue, and then you're on your way. I might have mentioned this before, but it's something that needs to be reiterated. I mean, kind of like the main thing. So that dive is decent, little attack. So shouldn't hurt Ruben too much, but you know, your hero character might have to deal with it. So I don't know what those gold things are, those sparkly things. I couldn't quite figure that out. I think they're just roadblocks at this point, but I don't really know what to do with them. We do have a few more fights at hand, and then that's about it. I mean, I guess it seems like I have more to this, 5 more minutes, but it's really not too terribly much more. Ninjas just whoop Zone's ass. Put Ruben to sleep. Huh. Might actually lose this battle to an enemy. Get a game over. Yeah, I do think I just run away. Then maybe I don't. So, yeah, I've got some things on my schedule today, so got a couple things I want to get taken care of. I'm gonna grab a beer today, and I might get a can of Monster, you know, some stuff like that. I mean, just my standard grocery shopping. I've been sipping the Mountain Dews. I'm still drinking Pitch Black. You know, for folks who don't understand the importance of that, you know, circa September, October, I just started getting a lot campier with like my things that I like about me, so I've been drinking a lot of Mountain Dew Pitch Black. This feels like a really third-rate drink, which I've been obsessed with third-rate lately, watching shows like Futurama, which Futurama I think to most people doesn't compare to The Simpsons, but I've just been watching reruns of that. You know, I have a couple seasons of that, and it just, I mean, the jokes in that are just, they're not really AAA, but they're not, you know, C- D grade either. I mean, Bender's quotes are actually decent, very good for a few internet memes, but, you know, I just don't see too many people quoting Fry. But those are just campy things, so I'm gonna get like some, you know, I'm gonna pick up a Monster, maybe something like that, get a beer, and go to sleep, get some Coke. Definitely need to get some more Coke. I've been getting the 7.5 fluid ounce cans, which is basically like a half the size of, you know, a standard can of Coke. So just imagine the mini size cans. I've been getting a lot of those. I can drink like 3 of those in a day, so it only takes me like 4 days to get rid of 12 of those shits. I figured you know, all this fitness stuff that's been going on this year, I'm gonna at least reduce my soda intake, even though I still drink just as much Mountain Dew. So this is kind of off and on, but I'm also gonna get a few Lunchables, because those That's like a free meal right there. You know, you talk about a free lunch, but that's just like a free meal. You don't have to cook. Just make yourself a couple sandwiches, down a Coke with that, and that fills you up. So, you know, beats having to cook 3 or 4 times a day every single time. I'm just gonna do that, and then there's the blocked door, so that switch over there is gonna open it, and the boss is just inches away from that. Almost feel like that was another "that's what she said," something like that, but yeah, so I'm just basically getting supplies. You know, that's what I'm doing today, is I'm getting supplies, and I gotta fill up. I'm gonna wake up this, you know, afternoon to having a beer. I'm probably gonna watch, my family and I got The Office from the library, so I'm gonna watch some more of that. I'm on season 3. So I've just been trying to watch that in portions, because I'm just not a binge watcher when it comes to television, but I am going to watch some of The Office, grab a beer, probably drink a Monster later that night, and then of course finish up the commentary and the gameplay for this. That's kind of what's on the way, you know, in addition to doing, you know, just a couple chores for my family and stuff like that, but, you know, I should basically take care of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, you know. Frenchie, you know, I could have him help me with this, but I don't know, there's just a lot of places that don't seem to like mythical creatures, so, I mean, he makes appearances now and then, but it's just kind of like the Ninja Turtles. He has to be kind of cloaked and stuff, but even then his horns don't permit that, so I don't know, it just... He's a creature of the night. He's nocturnal, just like I am, so main thing there. Alright, so subscribe for more fun. Well, I guess it's a little soon to say that, but I have to wrap it up. I'm actually looking forward to getting started with my morning and stuff. This is good. I mean, sometimes I have to get up and go, and other times I don't, but usually when I actually have, you know, like, you know, some sort of job or something, that's when I don't like to do it. But alright, you know, subscribe for more fun, check out Frenchie's channel, and have a good night. Okay, folks, I know I kind of said have a good night and all that, but there is an additional segment to this video, so take what I said before. We'll get through another 25 minutes and then have a good night, so just enjoy. This is an extra segment. We're going to finish up the volcano in this part, so. But as I get ready to do this commentary, I am going to crack open a Coca-Cola, one of my 7.5 fluid ounce cans I told you I was going to get yesterday morning. Open it near the microphone so you heard that. I'm gonna pick my nose real quick also. You can't really hear that, but you get the idea. I wonder if you'd ever be able to hear someone picking their nose, shuffling through some boogers or something, but that's somewhat of the purpose of this video, is just to let out a couple hearty burps. But yeah, so the point of this first 3 minutes is to get the life spell. I kind of showed you where it is. It's pretty much near the top. You just have to kind of figure it out from there, but once it starts looking familiar to what I've shown, you'll basically figure it out. So yeah, but we're gonna need the life spell because Zone needs it. And it's going to be time to get some extra characters, because obviously, like I was saying before, you know, if Ruben gets wiped out, that basically means you're on your own without this life spell, and that's basically been how it's been up to this point, so. had my beer. Kind of a fun, ritzy little feeling. I don't know if I should say fritzy, but ritzy. That seemed more like the fashionable thing. It's here and there. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of Grand Theft Auto. I still have a taste for GTA. I don't talk about it as much. You know, the last time you probably heard me talk about Grand Theft Auto for faithful of, you know, the Acidic Roots channel is probably back when Cobalt was running like Claude. That was back in early July, so. But there's a nice little burp for you, just in case you're interested. Couple minutes in. So yeah, Final Fantasy burps. But yeah, I probably should have snipped some of that. But alright, so this is the next little bit. I was under the impression, I guess I should have just snipped this part out entirely, but I wasn't thinking, so we're gonna have to keep it now. So it comes with not proofreading your LP footage, but luckily I do figure out rather quickly that that's not the way that we need to be going, so. But yeah, one of the most annoying enemies to face in this volcano is 3 of these Avazard goblin looking things. Just because the only one that can one-shot them is Ruben, and they have some status attacks that can really screw you over, so that's the main thing about that. Half and half, but I mean, I wasn't expecting the Medusa enemy. She kind of took my party out pretty quickly. It was unexpected, but yeah, I mean, Zone is going to level up to at least level 23 just between this last 25 minutes that we have here, so that's going to be something. But, you know, something happens. I remember, like, Zone falls off the bridge. There's a bridge that's getting ready to come up, so that's something you're going to know if you're thinking Ruben's going to stick with us for another few more episodes. Well, it doesn't turn out that way. It just kind of, that was the whole damn thing. This was a game that I watched, like I said, in part 1, you know, a good handful of times, probably not more than 6 or 7. Obviously, probably not more than 4 or 5 across the past, basically since Nintendo Capri Sun did this game back in late 2012. So, I know obviously, you know, some people think that the people that they want to reward with the viewership are the ones who do it, you know, did it back in 2008, 2010 and shit, but, you know, sometimes you don't really want to hear about the personal life of all that. People talking about, oh, I gotta charge my cell phone, it only lasts for 4 hours, and, you know, I don't know what SMH means, or, you know, just some of those type things. I can't really think of too many problems off the dot, but, you know, there's the difference in, everyday life between 2008 and 2018. I mean, it has changed, so just, you know, you get an extra sense just to see what fellows who are playing this game almost 38 years later think of it. It's kind of half and half. I just feel like it needs to be brought to the forefront a little bit better. It'd definitely be the thing. But so obviously, you know, folks like Cinemassacre and, you know, that AVN games, or some of those guys that have actually done that sort of stuff, they do continue to do it, but you guys definitely need the, what am I trying to say? You need the imprint of, you know, someone with less subs, you know, just to think. Because obviously, once again, having to relate to people, it's like, oh, I gotta fly to Michigan in a couple days, and then, you know, sit there and talk about that. I'm going to Texas for autograph signings and all that. It's interesting at some sorts, but mean, we just don't have too many people, Final Fantasy players, that are doing that. I mean, Chugga Conroy and those type people, but yeah, I mean. It's funny, getting famous, your profession as beating video games. It's kind of off and on. That's the reason why you're signing autographs, is because you knew how to beat Final Fantasy VIII, and I mean, in some cases it is worthwhile that, but it's kind of a funny thing. So pay attention. It wasn't like that years ago. It's not like I'm just commenting like I just now noticed this, but this is kind of funny when you think of the people on YouTube who actually do autograph sign every now and then. But yeah, I could definitely drink a fucking 7.5 fluid ounce can of Coke in probably like 6 minutes, something like that. I mean, it's not taking me that long now, just because I'm kind of talking as I do this. But yeah, it wouldn't. It's next to nothing. So. I do have a couple Slim Jim on my desk also, but I'm not gonna open those at the moment. Obviously, today, I just have to edit this video and then, you know, just kind of do a little bit of, you know, help out around the house, that sort of thing. But probably gonna have to take some of the stuff to go recycle. You know, my household does do that. So it's been kind of off and on trying to get that done, but I did get the groceries, you know, like I was saying in the second recorded segment that you heard, basically about 15 minutes from where this current place is. 15 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, it was like, oh yeah, you know, I gotta get, you know, some Coke, some food, and beer and that sort of stuff, but basically what happened. I did look for Mountain Dew. I mean, I was kind of, you know, I wanted to, you know, it was kind of, I mean, something that kind of quietly came back this year was Crystal Pepsi, which I didn't get, but I'm going to have to scoop up a few of those before it just is gone and they don't bring it back in 2019. Because I did actually drink those in 2017, and that was the thing. I didn't speak about it that much. I think the last time it was mentioned on Acidic Roots was back when I was 27 in the first half of 2017, but, you know, basically January, February 2017, somewhere around there, but it came back like August, September of 2017, and I got like 3, 4, or 5 of them, and then that was it. But, I mean, you know, this year I haven't gotten any. It's been back for at least 2 or 3 weeks. So it was just an appropriate time. I mean, I'm glad for it. I remember it first came back in August of 2016, but I know I'm gonna have to fuck with a few of those before it's too late. So it's off to the side. It still has the same look. Looks just like it did 2 years ago. I don't know if it would say copyright 2018 or not, but that's what you're looking at there, is just some extra Crystal Pepsi stuff. Which is funny, it's because YouTube doesn't really seem to care too much about it this year. There were tons and tons, dozens and dozens of people 2 years ago that messed with that drink. But, once again, just always use the axe on these guys just to one-shot them. I mean, I do at least, but there's the whole damn thing with that. This guy uses the flame pillar attack. Kind of funny, you know. Pre-Sun talked about how he liked the name Flame Pillar. Alright, so yeah, that took care of it. That's the switch. We have to get rid of this enemy. And, door, and then we'll cut back to where that is, so you'd almost think with this 14 minutes left that what's going to take up the rest of this video is the boss, which actually is a pain in the ass a little bit. So here we are, gonna enter the doors, and there's really not too much cannon fodder before we get to the boss. So yeah, a couple more enemies, and then after these next two, then it's the boss. I was actually thinking about snipping this, but I didn't get around to it. So, obviously, a good idea would be to take out the Medusa, because she can poison and petrify and that sort of stuff. So Ruben can one-shot her, get her out of the way, and then just let your hero character take care of, you know, either of the other enemies. But Ruben can also one-shot the ninjas, so. Yeah. So yeah, obviously that armor that I got, I didn't really mention it, but I did get the moon helm or something like that. It's gonna help, so that definitely means that you guys are gonna be geared up against fire attacks, and you know, this boss is pretty swift. I mean, you are gonna have to heal often. I'll talk about that as the battle starts. But use a seed, just keep things in motion here. The end of the line for you. Obviously, this video game does not quite capture how ferocious this enemy would probably be looking at it in real time. I mean, the 3D Final Fantasies at least try to show like how spooky some of the enemies wind up being, but you just get the idea. It's just like, oh, you know, it's kind of larger than the heroes, but two-headed dragon. Yeah, on this. Once again, on this. Oh. Yeah, so the fire attack can basically wipe out your party. The fire attack can basically wipe out your party in about 3 times of being used. So obviously you do want to heal. I mean, I don't heal after every single time because it just isn't worth it, but I didn't really understand that the first time through. So second take, dual head Hydra. You do get a couple, every now and then you'll get a couple chances to attack twice with both characters, but honestly, just because Ruben has next to no healing spells, it's gonna be the hero character that's gonna have to take care of the group. So, but yeah, Ruben does have the life spell, so I think we do use that at least a couple times. But also, it's not, you know, that's another thing. It's not really too terrible to use the cure potions just in case you don't want to use up all your magic. I just kind of think about it, if I can be one-shotted by one of their attacks, I just use a potion, so that at least gives me some more time to, you know, get some attacks out there. Everyone, I mean, that's what makes RPGs RPGs, though. They're just strategic, you know. Everyone's gonna have their own way of doing it, but I know obviously the game tries to imply that you should be healing yourself often, but you do have to take into account that, you know, one healing is a turn for their attack, so they can just basically put you right back where you were. So that's why I kind of, it's a little methodical, but I mean, you do have to, just because someone's hurt doesn't mean you have to heal them like that, so. But, but obviously, you know, if you really wanted a challenge, what you could probably do is put the Ruben character on automatic just to see how the CPU handles fighting this enemy. I mean, I guarantee you that the dual head Hydra would make quick work of Ruben just on its own. I mean, and even more so if I had to only have one attack to work with. I mean, it'd be a challenge, but, you know, this is kind of the thing, you know, you see so much of that speed runs and stunts and being fancy, that sort of stuff on YouTube, and it's just like, well, you know, this extra stuff, but then, yeah, so we this is just so, just because this is the dual head Hydra, this is so prone to a bunch of "that's what she said" little comments, you know. I was getting ready to say we took out one of the heads, and I mean, that's not quite prone to it, but it's hitting around the mark, you know. It's not like that would be a home run, but it'd probably get you at least to first base or something. So, second base maybe. I don't mean like actual, you know, talking relationship second base, but, you know, as in baseball talk, you know, base, home, second base, halfway there. But yeah, this is a gold mine for it, really. Need a burp again. Yep. Here's another one. We gotta cut that head down to size. No. It's actually a term that you're supposed to slay the beast. You know, I don't think Final Fantasy talks about slaying something too much, but you slay the dragon. So. But this is a dungeon, so after we beat this guy, the whole damn thing is you don't actually have to go throughout the whole dungeon the way you came in. So, you know, you do have to, yeah, there's just an exit. You can choose to go back the way you went, but it really, you can just go the simple way. And also, yeah, the volcano erupts. So I don't know what the point in that was, but it does. So, I mean, obviously, I think Fireberg was right down there, so it was kind of, that was the whole damn thing. It was just like, oh, well, you gotta understand the town was right at the base of the volcano. So. Sometimes this dragon attacks twice, and even when it only has one of its heads left, it still kind of attacks 2 times just to kind of do that. So. Thunder attack is kind of strong. I mean, it's more the hero character that I'm worried about more so than Ruben. Ruben can take probably about 3 hits of that Thunder, but you don't have to start healing him until later. And that dragon is kind of quicker than you, so sometimes. Ruben's pretty quick though, that's what I liked about him. One of the things. Alright, 3 out of 4 crystals. What's left in this game? And we're at part 5. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, well, whatever the hell else we're going to have to do. It's the whole damn thing. I'm surprised the crystal is not red. It's actually purple. Maybe it's magenta. See, now Windia is kind of a decent, that's a good name. So obviously that implies, I know there's a town that we're getting ready to go to, so I'm hoping for some good convo along the way. But I do like the idea of the rest of the theme of this game. We've seen ice and grass and fire. I want to see what else there is to offer. See, look at that. I mean, get the treasure chest. Don't not get it. You'll regret that. But yeah, this nice little theme, and we're out of here. So I thought about going back to Fireburg, but there's not too much of a point. I guess that's what that did, it just created a path. That's what the point of the lava was. It's not like it's not cool or anything, or this is like, oh, you know, kind of strange. I mean, you gotta say how many people have seen a volcano erupt in real life. I mean, despite the fact that it's horrifying, it's actually pretty cool if you're not near it or something. So obviously I snipped out a segment just because I went to the wrong area of the focus tower. You just need to go through the lava door, and then that's going to the next area. We also have to talk to the elderly man. So can't quite go there yet, but that's in time. And also, we get to see maybe one of the final areas of the game. So Windia and Captain Mac, 2 things of which that are going to pop up here soon. It's interesting to see what's going to come first. So yeah, so we'll see this, seeing as there's more land to go to, and before that we're just going to see like a snippet of the final area, which is apparently, or one of, it's called Doom Castle. So, and of course I could have gotten to a fight, but I didn't do it because I didn't know what to expect. But maybe I will, you know, it's not too... Watch it be like a really good item or something. Thought about it. So what awaits Zone? It's the whole damn thing. What problems will Zone have coming up here pretty soon? What problems await Ruben? You know, all these fellows. Alright, we're on the way, so subscribe for more fun. Stay tuned for part 6. Check out Frenchie's channel, and have a good night.